Hi, I'm Callie and welcome to Kapowski Reads. And friends, I've made a discovery and I need to share this with you because I just found something out and I don't know if everybody knows about this, but I feel like people need to know. I have recently learned, I've been made aware that there is a book that is inspired by Jane Eyre and it's set in Ethiopia and it features an exorcist and I have to read it. And I'm going to read it because I'm holding it in my hand right here. Within These Wicked Walls by Lauren Blackwood. This is described on the front cover as being an Ethiopian inspired remix of Jane Eyre. So Jane Eyre is a classic I absolutely love. I am giddy to try this out. And from the blurb, because that's all I've read so far, it is about a young woman called Andromeda, which is a fantastic name. She is a debtorer. She is hired to cleanse a home of the evil eye. In sort of a panic, in desperation, she accepts a job from somebody called Magnus. And she asks no questions. She's so desperate for this work. She needs it to survive that she is just like, yep, I'll take the job. What is the job? And she heads off to this grand home to cleanse it. But it turns out that Magnus has been hiding some secrets and it's not quite what the job was initially thought to be. And Magnus is himself cursed, and Andromeda, leaving him is not an option. She's fallen for him, so she needs to stay, she needs to cleanse the house, she needs to save the day. And I am here for this. I am so here for it. I think I'm going to get a strong female lead. How could I not? And I'm going to get a bit of a romance. And I'm going to get maybe something a little bit gothic in the form of this grand home with the curse. I'm excited. I am really busy with work this week. So my plan for this vlog is to read this book and tell you about this book. And that is my goal. If you've read this book, let me know how you got on with it. I think I'm gonna really like it. I'm really excited about it. And if you've not read this, let me know if there are any retellings, reimaginings of classics or other stories that you enjoy. And let's read the book. Let's find out. I've got high hopes. I will not jinx myself, but I have high hopes. Wish me luck. I went Vic shopping. I had to go into town. I didn't have to. I went into town to do some Christmas shopping. I know it's early, it's October, but I like to have all of my Christmas shopping done, like ideally by the end of October. Early November at the latest. I don't like doing any Christmas shopping in December. It makes me really, really stressed. And I was so stressed doing my Christmas shopping today and it was only October. So I deserved a treat. I deserved a treat. So I went to Waterstones and I got myself a coffee, a cinnamon bun, and I sat and read for a little bit. I made some progress in Within These Wicked Walls. I'm now about a quarter of the way into it and I am really enjoying it so far. I'm definitely getting the sort of Jane Eyre inspiration, even though it is different to Jane Eyre, but I can see where the sort of inspiration came from. I am really intrigued to know where the book is going to go next, because so far we've met Andromeda, our main character. She has gone to Mr. Rochester's house, which is in this desert, just this vast desert away from everybody, and the house itself is ice cold. It's so cold and it's so full of just evil and curses. She is learning about her boss, Mr. Rochester, who insists on being called by his first name, Magnus. He's like, no, we will have no titles here. And he's odd. He's very strange. And Andromeda's realising this. She's realising that a lot of the people in the house are a bit weird. and some people have been going missing, but it's very, like, it's really exciting so far. We've had one big kind of instance of all of the curses coming out of the woodworks after there's a curfew, and it's just, oh, I just feel like I'm really gonna enjoy it. I'm really enjoying it so far. I didn't want to actually put the book down, but it was starting to get quite busy in the coffee shop where I was, and I thought, well, I probably should give up this table and let somebody else have it, because I finished my coffee and my cinnamon bun. But I've got good feelings about this book. I've got really good feelings, and I've been burned before by books that are recommended by Reese Witherspoon. I think we're currently on about 50-50 of 50% I have loved and 50% I have hated with a fiery passion. So I feel this is going to go in the loved section, and I'm so excited to continue reading it. But on to the books I bought, because I hate shopping. I'm not a shopper, but how else will people know I love them if I don't buy them gifts? So I did it, and then I rewarded myself with my prize. And I got some books, unplanned books. We don't have any independent bookshops in Aberdeen, or I would have gone to an independent shop. We have a few charity shops that sell secondhand books, but I was very, very stressed, and I just didn't want to leave the shopping centre I was in. I wanted to stay in one location and just go home. So I treated myself to 4 books. They were 4 books that were all books that I wanted. They were all on my wish list, with the exception of one. So I'm actually talking nonsense. There's a new one on my wish list and now it's off the wish list because I have it. So let's go through the books that I got from my wish list first. I got The Vanquishers by Kaylin Bayron. It's got the sprayed edges, and this is a children's book, and I don't read a lot of middle grade books, but this is by Kaylin Bayron, who's one of my favourite authors. I have loved everything she has written. I think if she was to write a shopping list, I'd be like, amazing, 5 stars, made me cry, because she just writes fantastic stories, fantastic characters. So I wanted to give this a wee shot, and it was one of their books of the month, so why not? This is about a group of kids who sort of grew up idolising these vanquishers, who were known as like vampire hunters, who had dealt with all of the vampires, and they were no longer around, no longer a threat to these children and the people in this world. Not even sure where it takes place. However, when their friend goes missing, they start to think maybe all the vampires aren't gone. And there's some creepy stuff going on, and these children are ready to go and investigate, and I think they're going to save the day. I think this sounds like it's going to be a really quite charming story, and I think I'm going to love it. I can feel it in my bones. And that was on the buy one get one half price deal. And I was struggling to find another book on that deal that I wanted to read, and I didn't want to just pass up a deal. So then, to get the deal, because you have to get the deal, I went with The Ghost Woods by CJ Cook. This is their Scottish book of the month and comes with a bookmark, which is always appreciated. This is about a house that's kind of shrouded in secret and mystery. A woman has been sent away to a house, which is probably quite next to the Ghost Woods. She's been sent there to give birth, and while she is there, a mysterious woman and her son share with her some secrets of the place where she is, and secrets are revealed. I think it's going to be a little bit creepy, a little bit spooky, and that's exactly what I want. I love books with creepy woods, so that's what, I mean, I'm basing that entirely on the cover and the fact that it says woods. I hope it's going to have what I want. I also picked up Camp Damascus by Chuck Tingle. I have never read a Chuck Tingle, but obviously their books are pretty infamous. This is their first, I think, novel that's not got a wild title. And I have heard amazing things about this. It's set in a gay conversion camp, and there are demons? There's demons at the camp, and it's a horror, and it's, again, I'm expecting creepy woods. I don't know a great deal about this book. It's pretty short and I don't want to get any spoilers, but I know that there's going to be some quite horrific moments and it's apparently fantastic. So apparently fantastic is enough for me. I want to read that. And the book that was not on my TBR, that I actually was the reason that I decided I was going to buy a book, is Luda by Morrison. I bought this book because I saw Willow from Books and Bow talk about this book. It is a chonker, but I want to read it because Willow has never steered me wrong when it comes to book recommendations. It is set in Glasgow. It's by a Scottish author. It is about a drag queen in Glasgow who takes a protege, and there seems to be some sort of paranormally, magically things going on because a lot of people start meeting with some sticky ends. Bad things happen, and it's looking like the protege might not be quite as innocent as first they seemed. So these are many books and I'm very excited about reading all of them. With hindsight, they're all a little bit kind of October-y reads, and I have no space to fit any new books onto my October TBR. So we might be reading these a little bit later when they're not seasonally appropriate. Or I might wait till next year. I don't know. I just knew I was overwhelmed and I needed a treat. So I treated myself. I have finished Within These Wicked Walls and I absolutely loved this book. I loved it. I gave it 4.5 stars, so just rounded that up to 5, and I feel like part of me thinks I should have given it maybe like 4.75. It was so good. It just, I loved this. I was a little apprehensive at first about reading this because I thought, well, if it's inspired by a classic, is it going to be just, am I going to basically find it predictable, know what's going to happen at the end? Because, well, I know what happens at the end of Jane Eyre, and I feel like that wasn't the case. I don't feel like it's fair to call this a Jane Eyre retelling. I feel it's more fair to call it inspired by Jane Eyre, because this book truly felt like it was a unique concept. It was really exciting and it was unpredictable. Despite knowing how Jane Eyre ends, I didn't know how this was going to end, and I feel like I was still really surprised with the way that the book went because I expected it to go a different way and it didn't. I really loved the characters in this book. I think that is what made me love this book so much, although the plot was fantastic too. I loved Andromeda as a character. I feel like she was very guarded because she had to be. She had grown up sort of not being wanted, and she grew up in the church where she worked blooming hard. She worked really, really hard and she was really talented, but she had to be on her guard at all times. So she kind of had that fear, and you could see that throughout the book, that she was sort of nervous. She was definitely very slow to trust, and I think that it was so important that the other characters managed to earn that trust and that love. And Andromeda it really felt like she just wanted to love and be loved. And I just really enjoyed having Magnus and Saba just take her in and be like, you are one of ours now. They were just so welcoming. Magnus as a character was very, I would say there were elements of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde there, because he was quick to turn sometimes, but he was ultimately just a young guy who wanted to have fun and hadn't really known too many struggles in his life other than, you know, a curse. But other than that, he'd had a pretty easy life. So it was really interesting having him have his eyes open to new experiences and realize that not everybody has the same experiences as he did. And I loved Saba. I wanted to just I mean, can we have a series about her? I would love to know more about her story as well. She was the one that I just wanted to know, why was she so quiet? Why was she so strong? Why was she always in the right place at the right time? I was so intrigued. I thought the characters were absolutely spectacular in this book. I wanted to root for them, and I wanted to find out what was going to happen in their story. And the plot of this was so good. Really enjoyed the element of having an exorcist come to cleanse a house of a curse. And I loved having the curse sort of played out. I was not expecting it to be as it was, so that was a huge surprise. I was kept guessing throughout. I did like that there were some callbacks to Jane Eyre with the sort of love triangle, with the sort of sometimes standoffish Mr. Rochester, but ultimately this book it felt fresh. And I don't think that you need to have read Jane Eyre to read and enjoy this book. I just think that if you have read Jane Eyre, you might get a few little Easter eggs here and there that make you sort of smile. I can confirm that this book did not have my two least favourite parts of Jane Eyre, which were the age gap between Mr. Rochester and Jane Eyre. In this book, Magnus is 20 and Andromeda is 19. Age gap, I've got no questions about that age gap, no concerns at all. I really like that this book chose to have characters that were very close in age. They had different life experiences, different social standings, and I feel like that was enough of a difference between the two. We didn't need the age gap, and I feel like the book was better for it not having one. And I really liked that I'm not spoiling Jane Eyre for anybody because I recommend reading it, but there is a grand reveal in Jane Eyre that is, I would say, mirrored in this book by the curse, and that was totally different. So I really liked having this book take a trope, twist it into something new. I just thought that this book was so exciting. Like, from page one, I was intrigued and I wanted to know more. I love the setting. I haven't read a lot of books that are set in Ethiopia, so for me that was something that was really interesting to have. The book mainly took place in the Grand Home, which was, because it was cursed, it was icy cold, but it was within a desert. So that was very, very intriguing, having that sort of contrast between the really warm surroundings outside and this icy cavern that they were trapped in, basically. But I would like to read a few more books that are set in Ethiopia and sort of show actual Ethiopia in more than just sort of the market scenes that I'd gotten from this book, and the journey as well. I need to go and see if this author has written any other books because I would like to read them all. I just thought this was absolutely amazing and I recommend this so much. And I think that after having gushed about how much I enjoyed it, I'm going to go and change my rating. It deserves the full 5 because, well, I loved it. And I think other people will too. If you're thinking about reading this, then please go do it. And if you're in my real life book blather chat, this was the book that I wanted to talk about how much I loved it. So you've just watched me talk about how much I loved it. Let me know what you've been reading lately and if you have read anything that you recommend. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.